He's been up here a lot tonight, hasn't he? In fact, he's been up here an awful lot all year long. That's what comes with being a Toastmaster for 21 years, a facilitator for 15 years, and a club president for one last speech. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow facilitators, for one more time, please welcome our outgoing president, distinguished Toastmaster.
The reason I stepped up to president this term goes back to the year before. As an area director, I had to visit many clubs. I've also been a member in multiple clubs, and what I saw happening as Pathways rolled out in May was confusion. And knowing that the confusion was actually going to be worse for the existing members as opposed to the new members who would not know of the previous program. They were going to be forced into it whenever they wanted. It was the rest of us who were going to have to learn that I realized that was what I figured the challenge was going to be. I was willing to step into the position, and I did the same thing in my Tuesday morning clubs. I've been president of both clubs both times, specifically because that transition I saw as probably going to be our biggest challenge. Not that I've done the best job in terms of getting Pathways moving by any means, but slowly, bit by bit, encouraging, trying, and hoping that we'll get there. We're not quite there yet, but we managed to make progress. And as it turned out, that was not our biggest challenge this term. Come January over there at Brookdale, when we were told, well, starting in February, you're going to have to pay $75 a week to use the room. And I looked at what the numbers meant, and that would essentially mean jumping the individual club dues $100 every 6 months. Put forward to everyone to see this is what we're looking at, and we were going to have to move. Again, we started at Hospice at the Comforter. We were there for many years. Changes there encouraged us to move, where we ended up over at Lake Orienta, and they changed multiple times while we were still sitting there, and now we're going to have to move again. A club changing venue, changing time is a trauma. It's always going to be. No matter what changes, somebody in the club is going to be unhappy with it. Somebody's going to be inconvenienced with it. It's going to be 2 traffic lights too far. It's going to be half an hour too early or too late. The change in the room itself changes the mood, and it doesn't feel the same. Some people are going to, by attrition, leave. That's always the most difficult part. This club had weathered it once. It was how we're going to weather it again. And then we showed up here that first time, and somebody had the room. They had it for 6 more weeks. Therefore, we ended up sitting at Denny's for a month and a half, trying to make it work, making our club contest happen there. And there was a very interesting dialogue going around amongst the members. Some of the people loved being able to order, and I'm sure Jessica has having that flashbacks to the golf place, which is where one of the organizational meetings of the club was before they chartered. Yeah, at least we didn't have the video arcade right outside the door. But we also had some members that were absolutely adamant that if we stayed there, they would leave. They did not like the interruptions, they did not like the background noise. It just wasn't going to fit. We had already established this was available, and they were willing, after that 6 weeks was gone, to establish it for us, and at least going forward, we should be able to stay here. Unfortunately, where we had all the food and drink that we wanted there at Denny's, we can't have any of that here. And where we used to have our 6-month terms doing this award ceremony with food and wine, we loved having the wine at every meeting at the last location. We can't have anything of that here other than the bottled water.
And the vodka.
No. I didn't hear that. Take it off. to change. And that change has indeed been one of the hardest ones, because when we made that shift, we did have a drop off in attendance. And for nearly a month, we were having about 8 people show up at best. And that is hard. The people who were showing up were the ones putting in the effort. And amazingly, 2 of the newer members, Norberto, who had returned, and Sam, who had just recently joined, were making more of the effort. And I got here, and it's difficult when you have that few. You know, you're doubling up or tripling up roles. I was glad to see that people started filtering back in as commitments or vacations ended and allowed more to come back. I'm glad to see as many people here today, and I was very encouraged to see what came up at the end. Toastmasters International sets the goals for each of the clubs of the Distinguished Club Program. I've said it before, I do not consider those to be important because I never had a role and a voice in setting them. But they are a good learning experience for how to set goals, and then Toastmasters teaches you how to set a plan and then to try and execute the plan. That's where the value comes from. The goal then for me is simply track. Of those 10 points, we managed to get our dues in on time. We did that right. We got our officers trained 7 in January and 7 July, 4 in January. We got that point in there. We needed to have 8 new members for 2 of the points. We got 11. We got 3 of them in the last 3 weeks. But of those, we got Rebecca Seidler, Hadi Nasir, Danford Lulu, Paula White, who has since lapsed, Roberto Camacho, who cannot attend for a while, Carol Maybach here, Sam Velasquez, Lynn Ayers returning, Jeff LeMayo, welcome, Betty Huffman, and tonight, Stephen Wright. We also managed to get the educational awards in. We got 2 competent communicators from Gail and Belina. We got advanced communicators, bronze from Gail, silver from Tony, and my advanced leader, silver, Gail's competent leader, and Rebecca and I got 2 level 2s in to get to the 10th point. So we have gotten all 10, that's where we got the President's Distinguished. But there's one more thing you have to do, because if you do not have 20 members or a net gain of 5, you get nothing. No recognition at all. And as of 3 weeks ago, we were at 17. Thankfully, Jeff signed up. Thankfully, Tony recruited in Betty. And as we've already heard, Belina managed to draft in her husband to get us to 20. Don't worry, Susan can tell you what it's like to be dragged in kicking and screaming. Because it happens over and over. We've had several married couples through the years here. Tim and Marilyn were the first, but not the last. I've always said the idea is to get up and keep doing it, because whenever somebody gives a speech, we want to encourage them to get up and do it one more time. Take an officer position one more time. Whatever you may be trying to do, you can always do it one more time. Because that's what Toastmasters is about, getting up and doing it one more time. That's why I took on the president for one more time. And we managed to get there. I'm glad we're there, and I hope it continues growing forward. I have great encouragement for those to come. Thank you for the opportunity, and good luck going forward.